Hi, I'm Barry Morgan, Solicitor General of the Cobb State Court, here with District Attorney Joyette Holmes. You know, over the past 7 months, we've experienced a lot of frustrations in our life. So many Zoom meetings to go to, hearing phrases like, "Hey Barry, you need to unmute." But that can't compare to the fear and the frustration and the emotional abuse, the physical abuse that our domestic violence victims feel at the hands of their abusers. So we're so happy that you're here with us today to lend support to the victims of domestic violence crime. So on behalf of the women and men in the Cobb Solicitor General's office, we welcome you. District Attorney Holmes.
Thank you, Barry. I am Joyette Holmes, the District Attorney for the Cobb Judicial Circuit. Today, as we celebrate through the Domestic Violence Vigil, the survivors of abuse. This is October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, a month that we restart and recharge to make sure that we are bringing awareness to those survivors, that we are talking about the resources available to the survivors and their family. We will not be silent when it comes to fighting domestic violence. And even though it's a month that we celebrate and set aside, it's a year-round process. So we thank you for tuning in and for being here with the survivors who share their stories as we again recharge for the year to come.
Hi, I'm Tracy Atwater, Executive Director at Live Safe Resources. And on behalf of our organization, I'd like to thank you for joining us today for the Domestic Violence Vigil. In October each year, we take this time to stop and remember those special ones that we lost to awful acts of domestic violence. I wanted to let you know that Live Safe Resources is here to support you and your families through these difficult times. We offer counseling, legal advocacy services, shelter, and children's advocacy services to those suffering domestic violence. We also perform sexual assault exams, and we provide support to the elderly who are in abusive situations. If you need our help, you can reach us 24/7, and there'll always be someone there to answer the phone to help you through your situation. We've adapted some of our services to the pandemic and are doing quite a number of things virtually, so we can still provide for you counseling, support groups, and legal advocacy services during these times of illness. So please be in touch if we can help you. We want to serve you and your families and be there in your time of need. Thank you.
Please bow your heads with me. Lord, today we gather in remembrance of those who have lost their lives due to domestic violence. May they rest in peace and their families take solace in your grace and mercy. We gather to pray for the strength of those who remain in the midst of domestic violence so that they may escape the abuse and live in peace. We pray for the children who witness and fall victim to violence in their own homes. May they grow to know and understand that love is never expressed through violence. We ask you to touch the hearts of those who perpetrate violence against others. May they come to know your love and be inspired to transform their abusive ways. Protect the first responders who answer the calls of abuse. Keep them safe as they protect and rescue those who are abused. We pray for our community. Help us to show support and show compassion to those who are physically, emotionally, sexually, and economically abused. Let us be instruments of your peace and stand against all forms of violence and injustice. Use us, Lord, to bring comfort, peace, and love to those among us who suffer in silence and those who have found the courage to seek help. May they all find refuge, healing, hope, and peace in your everlasting love. Amen.
We know that domestic violence happens in every neighborhood of every city of every country, but we rarely know it's happening until the victim reaches out. In 2018, a long, painful journey of domestic violence came to an end for Carly, when she woke up on the floor and realized that she would not survive the next incident. She did reach out and began another journey to rebuild her life, which included navigating the criminal justice system to hold her abuser accountable. Today, she will share her story to offer hope for those who desperately need it.
Hi, my name is Carly Brannon, and I am here as a survivor of domestic violence and here to tell my story in hopes that somehow maybe it will reach someone that is in need and needing to hear my words. I met what would become my abuser in August of 2015. He was charismatic, we fell in love. He was everything that I thought that I needed and wanted in that time of my life. At that time of my life, I was a mother to 2 beautiful children, a friend, a sister, a very, very social human being. And whenever I met him, that's how we lived our life. We would go dancing, we went camping. He led me to believe that he was everything that I needed or wanted. Within a few months of our courtship is when the violence began. It was very slow at first. A lot of it was more manipulative, a lot of more not physical, but mental, which to me can be as detrimental as a physical abuse. Mental abuse is just the same. He preyed on my insecurities. He made me start feeling less of a human. When the physical abuse began, it's almost like he made me believe that I deserved to have that abuse being done to me. This lasted for about 1.5 years. There was a lot of arguments that led into strangulation. He would put me in a chokehold to where I would lose consciousness and then wake up. The first time he ever did this to me, he actually bent down when I woke up and asked, "Where did you go?" This is obviously a very new thing that happened. I'd never been in any kind of relationship where violence was a part of it. And I never would have thought that I ever would have been in this type of relationship. I was a strong woman, but one thing that you don't learn growing up is that there are people out there that will manipulate you, that can do it through love. And I found myself in this situation. During the time of our courtship, Derek and I became pregnant with our son. During the pregnancy, the abuse continued. Our son was born at 27 weeks, 4 days. I 100% believe that he came so early because of the abuse that I endured during the pregnancy. Our son spent 2.5 months in the NICU. During that time, the abuse became more frequent. It was weekly. It was more violent. When our son was 7 months old, we found a tumor in his back, and we had it checked out on a Monday. We were told that he would have to go in the following Monday for surgery to find if it was cancer or not. The same week, that Thursday in April, it was April 19th, my abuser came to my house while our son was sleeping, and this was the last attack that ever happened. He came over and we got in an argument to what ended up to him taking me in a chokehold and me waking up after passing out in my kitchen. And when I woke up, I could see that I had been dragged across the floor. I could see that I had lost bodily function. And when I was trying to get up, he came to me and slammed me back onto the ground, into a corner, and was yelling at me. He told me if I got up, he would take the gun and shoot me in the head, and make me look like I had committed suicide. This was the last time I ever let him touch me, because this was the time that I woke up. I realized that I was going to die. He was going to end up killing me if I let this happen any longer. Enough was enough, and I had to find a way to get out of this. I was beaten physically and emotionally. I was broken. I was hollow. I didn't know where to go. It felt hopeless, but I knew something had to happen. I knew something had to be done. And this was my wake-up call. This was the final time. So with that, I reached out and just started the process. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know who to call. I'd spoken to my friends, but I needed legal. I needed real help. I needed someone to back me up and guide me, because I was lost. I didn't know where to go. And my children's lives and my life are important. We're important. And so I started this new journey, and I started to trust people. When they said they could help me, I opened up. That being said, actually this month, a year ago, I was in a week-long trial with the jury, and my abuser was found guilty on 4 counts and sentenced to 22 years in prison. I could not have done that alone. It was a matter of life and death. And that's my story up to then, but my story doesn't end then, because my past doesn't identify who I am always. It's just a part of a survivor's journey to becoming better, or like where I am right now, sharing a story to help someone, to be a better mother, a better friend. There's always hope is my voice now. Now I'm able to speak about this and have conviction when I tell you there is hope. There is never an end. There's always a way. You just have to take those first steps and trust and believe, and find a group or find individuals that you feel comfortable speaking with, that listen to you. Live Safe was that for me. The DA team was that for me. I feel liberated because I have this story to share with you. And I just thank everyone for allowing me to be able to speak in behalf of everyone out there that is dealing with domestic violence or has dealt with domestic violence. It is real, but we can stop the violence through our voice. So thank you.
you.
Often, we don't realize the true significance of these statistics until they affect someone that we know. On May 9th of this year, Raj Mehta, who worked as a staff attorney for the Cobb County Magistrate Court, became one of those statistics. He was a beloved figure at the Cobb County Courthouse and beyond. Raj was known as the person who was always trying to help someone. And that was what he was doing on that fateful Saturday morning when he was gunned down as a casualty of domestic violence incident. He died trying to save a young woman he did not know from being killed by her estranged husband. He was able to disarm the gun from the perpetrator, preventing him from using it on the young woman. The perpetrator is currently in jail awaiting trial. In this month, where we recognize domestic violence awareness and prevention, Live Safe Resources and the Cobb County Domestic Violence Task Force chose to honor Raj with a special tribute and presentation in his honor.
Hello, everyone. I am Joyette Holmes, the District Attorney for the Cobb Judicial Circuit. As I'm here to talk about Raj, I count Raj as a friend. When I first started in private practice here in Cobb County in 2007 and started doing work in the magistrate court, Raj was one of the people that I went to. And so from that time until becoming Chief Magistrate Judge in 2015, I had known Raj in a capacity other than a member of our magistrate court team. When we talk about somebody who gives their all, we're talking about Raj. If you had a question, he would find the answer. If you needed help, even if he had 20 other things on his plate, he helped. Raj was institutional knowledge of the magistrate court. Raj was a friend. Raj was your family member, even if he wasn't blood. And to be able to stand here today and honor him, honor the work that he did in life, celebrating who he was in life, I'm just honored and humbled to be able to do it. So for just this moment, for those of you who are watching, to get to learn a little bit of who Raj was and what he meant to people is special. It's humbling, but I just say I'm glad that Raj was my friend.
Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Brendan Murphy and I serve as the Chief Magistrate Judge here in Cobb County. I bring you greetings on behalf of the Magistrate Court of Cobb County, especially to our distinguished guests and Raj's family who's with us here today. It's fitting that we should gather together at the People's Court, a place that Raj served for many years and loved dearly. It's fitting that we're here with the people of the Magistrate Court that make it happen every day that Raj served with. Thank you to Live Safe Resources and the Cobb County Domestic Violence Task Force for this presentation in memory of Raj today. Raj's senseless murder is a personal loss to so many of us and a public witness to the widespread consequences of family violence. Domestic violence causes long-lasting and far-reaching physical, mental, and emotional effects on so many. The survivors, families, children in the home, workplaces, and yes, an entire community. Our courthouse family and legal community were shattered when Raj's life was cut short as he attempted to protect a woman from a brutal attack, a woman that he had never even met. Raj truly died as he lived, a hero. In those last moments, he did what few could do. He summoned the courage to confront head-on and immediately the terrible rage of domestic violence. But Raj's life of heroic virtue should not be confined to those last terrifying minutes. He lived his life every day in quiet, humble, selfless service. That's a hero. In the days following his death, a grassroots movement, Be Like Raj, sprang up overnight. People comforted each other by sharing countless stories of ways, both big and small, that Raj was a friend to them. Countless texts, surprise gifts, out-of-the-way gestures and compliments, and listening and just being there to help. If you knew Raj, it was being everywhere to help. To properly honor Raj's legacy of service and the ultimate sacrifice he made, the Raj Mehta Memorial Endowment for Family Justice is being established at the University of Georgia School of Law, Raj's alma mater. The endowment will empower and equip future lawyers to confront domestic violence head-on, just like Raj did. Campaign chairs Terrence Bradley and Tim Williams, respected lawyers in our community and friends of Raj, will chair the campaign and provide further information. Thank you again for this recognition of Raj's life. To build a world free from domestic violence, we can all start by being just a little more like Raj. Thank you.
Thank you. I am Timothy Williams, attorney at law, and I speak on behalf of Terrence Bradley, attorney at law. I speak to you as, to be very blunt and open, as best friends to Raj. We were his best friends. I don't know of any occasion that I can recall that Terrence and I were probably together in either the courthouse or somewhere Raj wasn't with us. So I kind of just take a step to my right for just a moment because I feel like he's here with us. I want to thank, first of all, Judge Murphy, our Chief Judge of Magistrate Court, for his diligence and very hard work in preparing a scholarship in the name of Raj. When you think of a scholarship, you think of helping people, helping the community, helping support people. That's what a scholarship does. It changes people's lives. Speaking for Terrence and myself, we are absolutely honored to be chair, to be members, to be whatever you want to define it, to be the people that have chosen on behalf of Raj to go out into the community and make sure that people understand who he was and what he was about and how he touched so many people's lives. And so, again, I thank Judge Murphy for his support. He's been there supporting the whole time, supported us, supported this community. I thank our district attorney. I don't want to repeat what they have stated, but they've said it so eloquently. This was a family, and Raj was a family. We hope that, and we're looking forward to it. Terrence and I are looking forward to this because I think this is something that will be so positive to go out and be able to talk to people. I look out here today and I actually see some people that I know that have students or family members at the University of Georgia. You know, I'm fortunate to have a daughter there who's already reached out, some friends that have reached out, that it means so much. And I've shared that with his family, and I think it's a great honor. And Terrence and I look forward to, we just look forward to really going out and let people know who Raj was. And final note, there was not many times where we weren't together. Again, we were very close. We shared a lot in common. We share a relationship in the courthouse, outside the courthouse. And so this scholarship will be something that I think will be something we can all in Cobb County and this family, this judicial family, be proud of. We absolutely look forward to it.
Good afternoon. My name is Jason Saliva, and as both a Deputy Chief Assistant District Attorney, and I serve as the Chair of the Board of Directors for Live Safe Resources, who is our local domestic violence shelter, sexual assault center. Behind me are representatives from Legal Aid, representatives from the Temporary Protective Order Office that work with Live Safe, the Executive Director of Live Safe, and our Solicitor General, Barry Morgan. We all knew Raj, we all worked with Raj, we were all friends with Raj. On behalf of Live Safe, there is no greater honor that a person can show than what Raj did at the end of his life, to save someone else's life. So with that, we have a plaque to present to the family in loving memory of Raj Mehta, colleague, friend, and hero.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I want to thank you guys for all being here today. It means a lot to me and my family. I got to know my uncle for not as long as many of you guys, but for the time I got to know him, he was a great person. For everyone here, he developed a special relationship with everyone and always put everything down to help them. He was a very selfless person that felt rewarded for helping others. He was truly a very special person to me, and I hope I can learn to be very similar to the things he does. He was a great person, and I'm glad that he got to be in my life.
If we were able to meet in person, this would be the time during our vigil in which we would light a candle and read the name of each person who had lost his or her life to domestic violence in the past year. Today, we ask you to join us as we remember.
Domestic violence touches all aspects of our community.
It's important that we end it.
Whether you're law enforcement, family member, friend, neighbor, or stranger, Everyone has a part to play in the awareness and prevention of domestic violence.
Now it's time to do your part. Join us as we take the pledge against domestic violence.
I pledge never to commit, condone, or remain silent about domestic violence.
Acknowledge domestic violence is a problem that all humankind must work to end.
Acknowledge that all people deserve to live in a safe and loving environment based on equality.
Acknowledge that my lack of action and silence perpetuates the violence in my community.
Commit that I am ready to be conscious of domestic violence as a serious social problem.
Commit to educate myself on the forms of domestic violence.
Commit to end the silence about domestic violence and its effects on children, women, and men.
Commit to engage my friends, family, neighbors, and coworkers in ending domestic violence.
Commit to seek out and support organizations such as Live Safe Resources working to end domestic violence.
Commit to make the changes required to stop the violence in my life and to end it elsewhere.
Commit that healthy values must be spoken.
Commit that ending domestic violence begins with my involvement, not in my
state,
not in my county,
and
not in my home.
This year's Domestic Violence Vigil looked a little bit different, but we hope through all the survivor stories and those of victims that you've been touched and moved in a way that as we continue to push that awareness, to push those resources, that you will be a part of that partnership.
And hopefully you will take advantage of those resources, because what we want you to know is you're not alone.